Brooke, speaking of MLK Day, covering Southern Palm Beach County, a signature event to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Here to tell us about this year's annual gathering is the Spadee Cultural Heritage Museum educator, Edward Stinson. Thanks so much for being here with us, Edward.
My pleasure to be here.
So this is 25 years of celebrating this lunch, which is always a success. It's almost a sold-out event nearly every single year. Tell us more about it.
Oh, glorious, every single time. Well, of course, it's a celebration of Martin Luther King, but also it's a time period that allows us to really celebrate inclusion and these struggles that we all kind of go through together, living through the country, going through our own history, and remembering the, again, inclusion that really holds us together.
And you have a guest speaker every single year, but tell us a little bit more about this year's speaker and how you hope to just amplify that message even more.
Of course. So Dr. Don Meisel, of course, his work actually went with creating the national holiday for Martin Luther King. Now, of course, national holidays in the country are always an important topic and an interesting topic to see how they're created. With the national holiday, this allows us to not only know of Martin Luther King, but also create these holidays that we're doing. And then the work of creating that allows him to be civil rights activists. Now, that lets us, in the same vein, ensure that in celebrating these holidays, we're bringing people together and bringing that message of history, message of kind of camaraderie.
And it's so important to have these conversations and to be able just to be in a room where yeah, you can just, ask questions, talk about it, have people relate, or maybe even just hear different perspectives, things that maybe you've never even heard about before. Again, important conversations to have. What are some of the highlights of the events, other than some of the ones you mentioned?
Now, the highlights of the event, not only do we have Don Meisel, but of course we're also going to have a dance performance by the St. John Primitive Baptist Church as well, their praise team. We're also going to have Fannie Lou Hammer, and so she's a famous activist as well, civil rights activist. Not only that, we'll have speakers from our own museum, of course, Charlene Farrington herself. This is going to also be an emphasis on what we at the Spadee also teach, which is, of course, the importance of Black history being America's history. It's not some random history that is just one specific group of people. It is actually the history of America that many people might not know about.
And Edward, I think we live in a world right now where there's a lot of divide. There's a lot of hate, unfortunately, out there. How critical is an event like this, during what we're dealing with right now in our world?
Oh, my Lord. So what a question. Now, when it comes to acknowledging that controversy in the world, we have a strong emphasis on time and how close a lot of these conversations really are. A factor I'll always bring up is how long a generation is versus how long a human lifetime is. A generation is only 20 to 25 years. A human lifetime is 100 years. As is coming up on 100 for the Spadee Museum, it's kind of important to remember 100 years ago was like refrigerators and the suffrage movement, right? 1.5 lifetimes ago was slavery. So as much as a lot of people want to act like this history is that long ago,
it's not.
It's really not. One lifetime ago, it would have been really weird for me to even be talking to you right now.
Well, you think about the civil rights movement as well. That was not too long ago.
It was not long ago.
Exactly.
Something we teach at the Spadee is the crucial century. 100 years, 1870 to 1970, from the end of the Civil War to the end of the Civil Rights Movement. Almost every major issue we're going through right now is because of that one century and the actions that our country has committed in that century.
Edward, thank you so much for your time. And if you want more information on this event, on the brunch, you can head to our website right now, WPBF.com.